What is going on, jerk faces? It's your boy Andy, and you're watching Nocturnal Transmissions, brought to you by the Circle of Jerks podcast. It's a conversation you could be having during the day, but having at night. We are back again live for the third consecutive week, I believe. I don't know. I've ceased to keep track. But yes,
at least
we're
back that week.
yeah, at least. Yes. With me as always, co-piloting is the homeboy Rob.
What's going on, everybody?
All right. Yes. Yes. Last week was it was kind of a downer. We kind of got into like a pretty serious topic, and and I think it was an important topic to touch on and also to push back on against.
Absolutely.
So, if you guys, if you didn't catch last week's or you didn't watch any of the other, the archived or the clips, we talked about, the kind of the seemingly normalization of pedophilia. That we've been seeing, recently in certain media outlets and like now even TED Talk,
Yeah, it's really disgusting stuff, and I was definitely like, especially after seeing all that stuff and after our conversation, I definitely felt very very down after. It's like, man, like we're on the brink of destruction at this point, and it's possible that we still are. But something that I was really encouraged by, and I don't know if it probably had nothing to do with our episode, but it's probably a coincidence, but I definitely saw a lot of people that I follow on Twitter that follow me. They're standing up to the same thing, and whether they are more on the left or the right, there's a lot of people saying it's like we got to stand up against this. This is wrong, and so I think that definitely encouraged me throughout the week that. It's like civilization hasn't ended quite yet. It's like we survived to live another day.
Right.
So I think that's pretty cool stuff. And this week's episode, we're gonna have a little bit more fun today, I think.
Yeah. It's it's gonna be a little bit more lighthearted. Because we can't always we can't be always doing the black pill stuff.
Yeah.
Because who wants to watch a conversation about like really like depressing stuff? It's like, well, yeah, like cancer is horrible, it's just like, but so
every once in a while it's okay to be frivolous.
Yes. Yeah. So so this week, we're gonna keep it light. We're gonna be poking fun a little bit, but yeah, definitely gonna keep it light this week. So with all that said, let's get this conversation started.
All right. Let's do
so I guess we start off with the conclusion of our Indiana Jones series and do our last Crusade review.
Yeah, and remember, there's no other Indiana Jones films after this one.
Yes. Last Crusade is the last one. Nothing follows after Last Crusade. Ever.
Nope.
Yes, but yes, in this third installment, we are again travel with Indiana Jones on his quest to find the Holy Grail, the cup that Jesus drank from at the Last Supper, and also was used to collect the blood, while his blood while he was being crucified on the cross.
Okay. Before we continue, because uh, I had to go in because obviously I study the Bible a lot, and I had to go back and see if like was that actually like is it more of just a legend, or was like that same cup actually used to collect his blood at the cross?
All right. Well, I mean, for those of you unfamiliar with the details of the Last Supper, Jesus does, distribute wine in a cup to his disciples. So we could at least be certain that there was a cup at the Last Supper.
Absolutely, yeah, I do agree with that. I know.
And but as to whether or not one of the disciples used that same cup to collect Jesus' blood, that's a little bit.
I'm gonna dig into that. So I'm gonna look into that for next week because I didn't, I didn't get a chance to do that this week, and because obviously like I know about like the Last Supper and the crucifixion and all the the importance of all those things. But I was like I don't remember if that's if that was just like a legend or if that like actually did happen, and I just it was one of those details that I missed. But yeah.
Right. Well,
anyway,
I mean, at least
a little bit of a sidetrack.
Yeah, I mean, at least for the four Gospels, they don't. I mean, they meant when it gets to the scene of the crucifixion, there are at least the disciples are there. Jesus' mother is there in one of the books.
Mary Magdalene is there. I think Peter is there for a time.
Or yeah, but he's just like kind of in the background, and then like John is there.
Yeah.
The author of the book of John, and as well as Revelations.
Yep.
And yeah, I believe, but no mention of a disciple, or even like how they proclaim in Last Crusade that Joseph of Arimathea took the cup and collected the blood. That I don't know.
So I'm gonna have to look into that.
Yes. But going back to kind of the synopsis of the movie, yes, Indiana Jones is recruited to hunt down the Grail, and there's a lot of twists and turns, and ultimately they do find the Grail, but they aren't able to keep it. And for those of you who haven't seen it, it's been like almost 30 years, so you have no excuse.
Yeah.
But yeah, go watch it. It's a good movie. So that's all I got. That's.
So
you should have watched it, or if you haven't watched it, then you are at least somewhat familiar with the tropes that it created for pop culture, because it's some of the things that they came up with in this movie have been imitated and homage to infinity.
Yeah. So there's a couple of things that I really like about this film. One, I'm always a sucker for like origin stories and learning about like how a character comes to be who he is. In the case, obviously, we dive a little bit into Indiana Jones's past, and just we see how it is that he started to be. Obviously, he was always like tutored and taught about history and legends and respecting history, from his upbringing. But there's also kind of like why he's kind of a lone ranger, kind of like he doesn't really like to partner up with people, and that's just the relationship that he had with his dad kind of kept him from he's not necessarily the warm and fuzzy type.
Yeah, he wasn't a ward like Cleaver or Father Knows Best or Mike Brady type.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, and I mean, I think he does it. He does kind of address that. You know, it's like, oh, did I ever tell you to do your homework, or or wash your face, or whatever? It's like I let you, I let you do you essentially.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, I mean, and oh yeah, and Indiana Jones' father is played by none other than the legendary Sean Connery.
Oh, it was the best.
Yes, best casting ever.
Yeah, definitely. Something else that so yeah, I'm always a sucker for a good origin story.
Mm-hmm.
That's as much as like people hate like the prequels for Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
I like kind of the idea of learning how Anakin becomes Darth Vader, or we learn about like how Darth Vader becomes who he is. From all of the lore, not the movies don't necessarily execute it the best way, but so I'm always kind of a sucker for that type of stuff. So there was that. The other thing is, what was the other aspect that I really like about this?
Well, I mean, just really quickly, as for Origins, I'm glad that that they just did a quick kind of thing to like, and they kind of like poured in like all of the influences that eventually makes Indiana Jones.
Yeah, it wasn't.
And I appreciate that that they did it like so quickly in like the first like in the opener of the movie. They took care of like all of like this is why he carries a whip. This is what this is how he got that scar on his chin. This is this is why he has a fear of snakes and all that kind of stuff. Like it was all taken care of in like that one opener. And there was no need for like a young Indiana Jones or like a prequels Indiana Jones. Well, I mean, we kind of got that already with the TV shows, but
yeah, I was just gonna say that. So like I said, it's I like it was something that was quick, but it gave you like kind of all the stuff that's like that fans were probably wondering, like, oh, how did he become where did he get his hat? Why did all of a sudden he why is he afraid of snakes? So on and so forth.
Yeah, I thought it was really meta of them to have the guy that influences Indiana, because that's essentially what is it? Because that's the same thing that George Lucas did, or because the character of Indiana Jones, was created by George Lucas, but George Lucas was influenced by like an early 30s or 40s serial of an adventurer who looked like Indiana Jones. Like he wore the fedora, he wore the the bomber jacket, carried the whip and everything. And I thought it was a brilliant stroke of like meta narrative to have the guy that influences Indiana Jones to be the guy that influences Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't understand what we're talking about, in the beginning, Indiana Jones, like he's on this camping trip in the Boy Scouts, and he stumbles upon these kind of like Tomb Raider, kind of people, and the leader is dressed like Indiana Jones, with the fedora, leather jacket, and the whole deal, and. Yeah, I thought it was a brilliant piece of meta narrating by Steven Spielberg and George Lucas to have that character in there influencing Indiana Jones, becoming Indiana Jones. Because, again, George Lucas borrowed a lot of what made Indiana Jones from that character. I forget who, like the character has a name, but the character from those early serials.
I'm also kind of drawing a blank on the character that he's influenced by.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless, still pretty cool. The other thing that I really like about the film, and I've mentioned this in the last few times we've been doing Indiana Jones, is that it's like they're all seeking after the Holy Grail, yet there's also like a catch to about the Holy Grail. Yeah, in this case, it turned out to be a real thing, but it wasn't something that could just be exploited. There was traps in place, and for good reason. So what we discover is from the beginning of the film is there's a package that's delivered to Indiana Jones, and he's not sure what it is, and as he is heading out from the university, he's kind of ganged up on by a few henchmen who deliver him to a guy who is talking about like, hey, I'm on the search for the Holy Grail, and look at what I found so far, and it turns he's like, well, we're almost there. We have like a lot of these things together, but my lead guy who was working on this has been kidnapped, and so Indiana Jones is it's like, oh, well, you don't really want me. You want my dad. He's the expert on the Holy Grail mythology and searching for it. It's like, yeah, that's who the lead guy was. It was your dad, and pretty much he got kidnapped. And so that's what gets Indy into doing it, because he wants to find his dad. And that's how the whole movie goes on. And and surprise, surprise, the Nazis are back, like they were in the first film.
Right,
and,
because I think George Lucas understood, like, he's like, Indiana Jones needs like a big enemy to, it can't just be like these, like in Temple of Doom, where it was just like this, in the middle of the jungle, like, bad guy sort of thing. He needs basically Indiana Jones needs Nazis to punch.
Yeah.
That's the winning formula.
And so that's kind of how the movie starts, and it's it starts off as a rescue of his dad. He's fighting the Nazis. There's twists and turns where people that he thought were on his side were actually Nazis, and they're constantly like they're on a race and searching for clues, and the one group is trying to beat the other group there, and it's
a race.
It's great.
But I thought that secret society was kind of useless.
The secret society.
Yeah, like
about the Templar Knights who drank from the Grail and lived for several
over
centuries.
like for 150 years. Yeah, but then like they were so the story goes in the movie. There's a story about three brothers who fought in the first Crusade, and they were the ones that found the Grail. And then one of the brothers, because he was the most virtuous and bravest and whatever, was selected to stay with the Grail and guard it. And the other two brothers, went out to, went back into the world for some reason, and then they passed, and then one of the brothers passed on the story to a monk who who then put it into a book, and I guess one of the other brother went and told a bunch of people, and they decided that they were going to take on the duty of protecting the Grail, and so this kind of secret society sprang up, and they were what was it? They were commissioned to protect the clues to where the Grail is. But I thought they were kind of useless characters. Because one, they're initially made out to be bad guys, or people working with Nazis, but then it was revealed that they were the good guys, and then they even tried to help and perform like an ambush on the caravan of Nazis on their way to the Grail, but they all ended up getting killed.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I guess you're right. Like, it's I thought the idea with like the Templar Knights was kind of cool, but yeah, the whole society itself was like, it's okay. I think that what to me the best part of the film was the interaction between Indiana Jones and his dad.
Oh yeah,
and the cast of characters, like they had Indiana Jones's boss from the university with him, and then a recurring character from the first film. What's his name?
John Rhys Davies.
Sulla. It was
played by John Rhys Davies, and for those of you too young, he also played Gimli in the first Lord of the Rings trilogy, the dwarf.
That's him?
Yeah. You didn't know?
No. I guess
not. Yeah. Yeah, Gimli the dwarf was played by John Rhys Davies.
I did not know that.
Surprise.
Well, there we go. Anyways,
and
so that group of foursome was
but really I think just quickly speaking of Indiana Jones' dad, I thought it was great because it very much felt like guy bringing his dad to work, and the dad just like constantly bitching at him or complaining about him. It's like, oh, you're doing it wrong, or why do you have to do that? And it's like just like Indiana Jones like exasperation of his dad being there while he's on the job, as it were, is just, I think, what was really great.
Oh yeah, it's like, is everything always this chaotic with you? It's like, this is how I work. It's like, hurry up, let's go.
Yeah, I love the dynamic and how they played off. How Harrison Ford and Sean Connery played off each other was just like perfect. Like, so it made for like a more of like a believability of them being like father and son, or and having like that strained father-son relationship.
I think one of the funnier moments in the movie was where right after the Indiana rescues his dad, he was it the one of the Nazi soldiers kind of takes the what we think of as the female protagonist hostage, and his dad is like saying, "Don't trust her, Junior. Like, she's a Nazi." It's like,
oh yeah. He's like, I'm gonna kill the Nazi takes the girl who's working with him in the beginning, but then she ends up being a Nazi as well. But then they do the trick where the Nazi takes her hostage, and he's like, I'm gonna shoot her if you don't put down your gun. And then the dad's just like, yeah, go ahead, kill her. And then of course Indiana Jones is like having this conflict. He's like, no, don't kill her. It's like, go ahead, go ahead, shoot her. It's like she's one of them anyways.
Yeah. But and then it turns out that they both slept with her too.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's like, and she's having this dialogue with Indiana Jones, and how it's like, I'm so sorry I had to betray you. It's like, it was such a wonderful night together. It's like, and then, but was it Henry Jones Sr.? He thinks that she's referring to him as like, oh, it was great for me too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Again, when I think Yeah, Raider. Yeah, I mean, after watching it again, Raiders is maybe like kind of tied with me for best favorite Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah, there's. Yeah, I have a hard time choosing between Raiders and The Last Crusade.
Uh huh.
I had to say Raiders is probably my favorite, with like a very close second is Last Crusade, with Temple of Doom a distant third.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but for me, it's like it's too close. Like I can't. I don't know if I can say like I like even though Raiders was my first, like everybody. But after watching Last Crusade again, I was just like, man, like this movie was so good. Like, I don't know, like if I could say that it was that much better than Raiders. So
Yeah, I think what gives me the just gives Raiders of the Lost Ark just that little push like further is it still has my favorite scene ever in one of my favorite movie scenes ever, where like he there's supposed to be that sword fight and he just shoots the guy.
uh
I think that's like that's one of my like top like favorite scenes in a movie.
well, I think in terms of scenes where it's been imitated, parodied, and homaged as much as that one that you just talked about with the sword. I think the scene in Last Crusade has been esteemed just as much, and that is on the
The
Zeppelin.
Holy Grail scene.
No, 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 no. Well, that too, but the Zeppelin where he Indy to evade like the Nazis, he dresses up like he knocks out like one of the stewards and then puts on the uniform and then starts acting like the steward to keep an eye on the Nazi, and then his father's is is confronted by the Nazi, and then he decks him and tosses him out of the Zeppelin while it's still like relatively near to the ground, and everyone's like kind of looking at him, and then he says like, "Oh, no ticket," and then everyone like freaks out and like they bust out their tickets like, I had my ticket, I had my ticket."
That's that was a good scene too.
Yeah. But yeah, the other scene then is also the one in the cave where they meet one of the original knights, and he the test is there's a whole array of different cups and goblets and things of that and like that, and he says, "Oh, choose wisely," and the test is you have to pick the right cup. And and of course,
one leads to life, and all the other ones lead to death.
right? And of course, like the big bad of Last Crusade, it's like it's not even he chose. Like he allowed the double crossing Nazi bitch to pick for him, and it's like yes, this must be the cup, and he drinks from it, and then he fast forwards through his life, and in a matter of moments, he starts to age, and then becomes dust.
Great practical effects too, by the way.
Yes, actually, yes, that's another great point. But then like the line delivered by the knight is like oh, he chose poorly.
Yeah. And it's like, and obviously, like none of those like big fancy like gold goblets were the cup that Christ drank from. It's something
Right.
that's going to be very
Right, it's going to be very simple, very humble, like because he was just a carpenter. Back then, carpenters, they weren't necessarily top of the food chain, and what was it? And for 3 years, Jesus was wandering around the countryside like a dirty hippie. So he didn't have any money, so he couldn't afford any of those like fancier cups.
Yeah. So it's just kind of, and it's like when Indiana Jones, like, this was a carpenter's cup.
Yeah. It was just like this, like kind of regular looking, like copper cup or whatever.
Yeah. So it's just yeah, that's pretty much the movie. It's it's just if you're looking for something, it has it all. It's got good action. It's got good drama. There's people double crossing one another. It's got great comedy in it. And,
speaking of which, I think something that I never really caught before watching Last Crusade, but that scene where they're in the castle where they initially rescue Indy's dad. They kind of start having like this squabble, and Indy's dad mentions like, oh, I've been better off if the Marx Brothers came to rescue me. And then they actually go into a bit of like Marx Brothers routine where it's like he's like oh well that's and Indiana responds back was like, well, that's gratitude for you. I came all this way to save you. And then and I didn't realize it, but I think that was like a cue for them to start kind of like doing this routine where they can then like try and take out the guards or take or get the jump on the Nazis that have them at gunpoint.
Yeah, it's oh man, that's
because I remember Henry Jones Sr. specifically says Marx Brothers, so and then I was like thinking about it, it's like, oh yeah, and then the Marx Brothers, they do these kind of. If you're not familiar with the Marx Brothers, there's this comedy
family.
Yeah, comedy family.
Karl Marx, not Karl Marx, the socialist.
Yeah. Not the socialist Karl Marx, but Groucho Marx. God, who's the one with the harp?
There was Harpo Marx.
Oh yeah,
Groucho
Harpo
Marx. Shoot. It was like hold on a second. There was one film that I think had all of them. That was Duck Soup.
Yeah. But yeah, I caught that little cue, like I kind of like that cue from his dad. Is like, oh, okay, I get it.
So there was Chico, Harpo, Groucho, Gummo, and Zeppo Marx.
That's right.
Groucho being kind of the leader of that group.
Yeah, I mean, for those of you who can't remember, Groucho was the one with like the really thick eyebrows and the cigar.
Yeah, who like a lot of the fake disguises, like the nose with the glasses. That's a Groucho Marx disguise.
Yeah, from like the dollar store or whatever with the glasses and the big nose and the mustache. That's a Groucho Marx reference.
Yeah, it's really. That's right. That it is kind of like a Marx Brothers routine between Indy and his dad.
Yeah. Right, and it's like at the because like the crescendo is like he was like gonna tell his dad. So I was like, I told you, and then like he goes and turns and knocks out the Nazi with the gun on them, and
yeah.
But I also think it's also one of those cathartic things where he was like he really wanted to let his dad know that he hates it when he calls him Junior.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which those of you again who don't know, who haven't watched this movie, why haven't you watched this movie? What the hell's the matter with you? But the secret throughout the whole movie is Indiana's real name, and his real name is Henry Jones, Jr. after his father. Henry Jones Sr.
Yeah. And we find out why he goes by Indiana Jones.
Yes. He's named after the family. He took the name from the family dog.
Which Stala laughs at him for. It's like, you're named after the dog? It's like, hey, I love that dog.
Yeah. It's like, I go where Indiana goes.
Oh man.
But
and so many it ended well, it ended the trilogy perfectly. It was a great. The movie was great through and through. It's got action, it's got comedy, it's got drama, it's got it all. And yeah, if you haven't watched it by now, go and watch it, man. It's great.
Word. Yeah. So, all right. So, on a scale of 1 to 5, what do you give it?
Oh, this is a 5. This is a 5 for sure.
I completely agree with you. So, yes, you heard it from us. You heard from us tonight. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, 5 from both me and Robert.
Yeah, it's
unanimous decisions.
It's one of those great films that it's a must watch.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't like it, then I don't know. I don't think you have a pulse.
Or or we can't be friends.
That's possible too.
So, I'm sorry. It's like, if you don't like that movie, we just can't be friends.
It's kind of nice being watching all of them through at the essentially around the same time. We did it in a 3-week period.
Yeah, within a month.
Yeah, so it's kind of. I had never done that before. I mean, I've seen all the movies, but I've never watched them all in one sitting, kind of. And so it's kind of going back as an adult, doing that, and kind of really being able to analyze it. It definitely changed my, not necessarily changed my perspective on the movies, but more or less, it's like, oh wow, this is really one of those great movies that I've watched Raiders of the Lost Ark probably 20 times, and it's still fantastic to me. And then I have a lot of I've always liked Last Crusade, but I like it a lot more now. And Temple of Doom kind of fell off a little bit, where I was like, man, I didn't remember that. I'm glad they had Short Round. He was kind of funny. But the female lead was kind of a weak choice. And some of the other it wasn't bad. It just wasn't at the same level as the other two.
Yeah, because even the double crossing Nazi bitch.
She was a better female lead.
Yeah, she was a better female lead. Yeah, and I think better acted as well.
Because you believe that she cares about how Henry Jones Sr. is missing, and you believe that she's one of the good guys, but in reality it's and then she flips it, and
right.
So she was a well acted character.
Agreed. Yeah, a lot better than Kate Capshaw.
How dare you not choose me?
Hilarious. Yes.
And so yeah, that's all the indie films in a nutshell. We will not be reviewing the dumpster fire of that is Skull.
Yes, we will not be going beyond Last Crusade.
Maybe if we do a a month of just hate watching movies, maybe we'll do Crystal Skull. Maybe that'll be one that we include.
Maybe.
If people can review games that they hate, I think we might be able to do. It's not the worst. Okay, I will say this: it's not the worst film that I've ever seen. I think the worst film I've ever seen was The Man with the Iron. I think it was The Man with the Iron Fist or something like that. It's starring the RZA. We were drunk. We were drunk when we watched that film, and it was still awful. Because normally you can kind of like laugh and like, oh man, that's stupid. Like no.
Oh, so it wasn't one of those movies where it was so bad it was good. It was just awful.
It was just there was nothing good about that film at all.
I see.
That's easily the worst film I've ever seen. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I would say I would watch The Last Jedi before I would see that movie again.
Holy shit! Damn, really?
It's really bad.
Oh wow!
But a lot of those are like it is kind of a personal opinion kind of thing. Like someone may have watched that and really liked it, and that's fine. Like
right.
I'm not gonna like. But to me, it was just one of the worst films I've ever seen. And I watch a ton of bad movies.
What was that?
I regularly watch like Mystery Science Theater 3000. So I've watched a ton of terrible movies.
Mm-hmm.
But even this one was just like, this is beyond terrible.
Okay. Well, I guess you saying that you'd rather watch Last Jedi. Well, at least Last Jedi was, looks aesthetically pleasing.
But there's, like I said, and there are some good things. Like I said, I still think that fight scene with Kylo Ren and Rey was really awesome. That's one of the better Star Wars fight scenes, I would say. But that's
yeah. I mean, because I think you and I can both agree that our main onus with Last Jedi was the story and also the direction that Rian Johnson took some of the characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it had nothing to do with like the technical execution of the movie. It's just all about the characters and the direction or like the story and some of the decisions that he chose to implement.
Yeah, but even like in that other movie is just there's not really a good fight scene. There's not really the dialogue is terrible. It doesn't really have a good story even, and I didn't like it at all. Like there was nothing like that. And I'm always like looking for the positive. Like what's the one good thing that I can take away from the movie that it's like, hey, you know what? Everything was bad, but this one moment they had something, and this movie just doesn't have that one. Doesn't even have like really one good thing that I can say about it. And I mean I like the RZA, like I've some of the other like actors. I think I've seen them in some other stuff, and like they're okay actors, but yeah, there's just nothing in this movie seemed to have worked.
Wasn't Russell Crowe in that movie too?
That's a great question. I don't remember if he was in there too. If he was, I mean, yeah, I like Russell Crowe too. Crazy. Yeah,
because I remember
Russell Crowe.
Yeah, because I remember Russell Crowe being in it. Like, yeah, he plays like a cowboy, and then like he goes into the whorehouse.
Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
He may have been the.
I haven't seen it. This is just what I'm remembering from like the trailers and the previews that I've seen. That I remember.
Yeah, I think I saw this movie about 4 or 5 years ago. Maybe longer than that.
Right.
Yeah, because we watched it on my. It wasn't like you and James. It was another group of friends I had, and we.
Oh, you got another group of Asian friends, huh?
Yeah, I know. You guys might be exclusive Asian friends that I have. Yeah.
Stepping out on us?
I know, right? Yeah, it was like New Year's Eve, and so everyone came over here for a movie marathon kind of thing, and we were drinking, and that was one of the movies that we put on, and it was awful.
Hilarious.
So, oh man, definitely. Yeah, maybe we'll do that one day. We'll do We'll do a month of bad films. Like you choose 2 bad films that you really hate, and I'll choose 2 that I hate, and we'll we'll slog through it.
Yeah, I mean, well, since Last Jedi, I don't know if there's any movie I despise more than Last Jedi.
The thing is, I don't like that movie for different reasons. If it was its own, if it was starting with a whole brand new franchise that didn't, there had no real connection with Star Wars, I wouldn't care.
Yeah, I mean, neither would have I. Neither would have I. Yeah, if they decide to call it Planetary Strife, or Galaxy Strife, then yeah, and it had space wizards, and they called them space wizards, and they just change everything, and but there was no Star Wars in it, then I probably wouldn't have minded it.
Yeah.
But here we are.
I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole
again.
Of course.
No more. Let's cut off there. Let's end it on a high note. Let's not bring in the gloom.
But you don't have another movie that you've watched that you've were just wow, this is bad. Just where you're above that,
I can't think of one. At least not right now. Not on the spot. But I don't know. If I had a little bit of time to think about it, I probably could come up with something.
All right. Maybe we'll next week, barring any crazy stuff that's going on in the news, we'll do a top 5 hated films for each of us.
Yeah. Okay. Well, with all right, from Indiana Jones, let's at least hit one of the kind of pocket topics that we had. Straws or Crazy Eyes?
I think Straws is kind of crazy. Speaking of frivolous things.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So if you hadn't heard, Starbucks is planning on getting rid of straws by 2020, I believe it was, and I believe the state of Washington has already outlawed the sale or manufacture of plastic straws, as well as I think the liberal hellhole that is San Francisco has just passed a law banning straws there as well.
Oh, Shittown?
Yeah, Shittown. And so
that's pretty much what it is now.
Yeah. And it's pretty hilarious because they're saying because they're saying oh, we want to reduce our use of plastics, and we want to save the environment because all these stupid animals are eating these plastic straws that find their way to the beach, and it's just kind of ridiculous. Because I mean, I don't know how many of you have seen them, but the new lids for Starbucks, at least, it looks like one a sippy cup thing, and it turns out that those lids have more plastic than the old lid straw combo, and also it's made up of a plastic that is harder to recycle.
Of course it is.
Of course it is. Because right now the two the lid and the straw, they're made from a plastic that's really easily recycled or recyclable. but
Right.
the lids will be made out of this other type of plastic, which is I think I think even more expensive and harder to recycle.
How
Yeah,
idiotic.
and they'll be and there's more plastic in the sippy cup lid than old lid and straw combo.
Well, not that because I'm not a big coffee drinker to begin with,
Right.
So I'm usually not at like places like Starbucks or Coffee Bean or any of those places, but yeah, I don't think I'm gonna spend any more money at Starbucks.
Yeah, I'm pretty much done. Because I had like a couple of dollars left on my Starbucks card thing, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna use it up, and I'm gonna be done with it. Even though I still have some points, I was thinking about it. Maybe I should just, use it up until I get my free drink and then stop. But
see, this is and for for people out there, this is how you use your wallet. Like, you don't spend money there.
yeah,
It's like, it's one of those things. Instead of bitching and complaining, I mean, like, maybe that's kind of what we're doing, but instead of just saying, you're racist, you're terrible,
I mean,
you stop spending money there.
Yeah, I mean, we are complaining, but we're also taking action with our wallets.
Yeah, exactly.
So at least at least we're better than some liberals who just bitch and bitch and bitch, but don't do anything to really try to affect change. Even the smallest thing, like deciding not to get coffee at Starbucks. Yeah, hey, and because I found a new source and it's cheaper, and that's 7-Eleven, because they have dollar any size cold brews.
That's true, they do.
Yeah, and you could customize it however you want. I usually get the cold brew, and then I also put it in some of the vanilla iced coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it tastes just as good as what you get at Starbucks.
Yeah, and it's like anything goes at 7-Eleven. Plus, you don't have crazy people using the bathroom, because nobody uses the bathroom at 7-Eleven.
Right, I know. There's and besides, there's no access to the bathroom. I mean, I've actually used a couple of bathrooms in 7-Eleven just because, it was an emergency and I really needed to go, and I really had to talk the guy into letting me use, the worker let me use the bathroom. And I was like, oh, I promise I'll buy something. Yeah. Just let me please use the restroom.
I'll give you my wallet. You can hold on to my wallet, so you can.
Right? Yeah. As opposed to Starbucks, where he's like, yes, bums, come congregate.
It's racist if we don't let you use our bathroom.
Apparently.
Yeah, and it's like after that whole incident, I was like, it's like I think within a year maybe I spend $20 at Starbucks, but I'm not gonna spend that $20 there anymore.
Yeah, in a month I'll spend $20 because I really only stop by Starbucks on Sundays.
Yeah, it's
because I've already hacked the iced coffee thing. I make my own. I get myself a really big cup and I just make it myself. It tastes just the same as Starbucks, maybe even better. I went the extra mile of making my own coffee syrups. So
yeah, it's but yeah, no, this whole straw thing, it was from some of the articles I read. It was started by some kid who, he took, or I don't know if it was, kind of urging from maybe his parents, or he just, found some misinformation or whatever. But he started this campaign against straws, and because a lot of people in government are easily swayed by children because hey, it's like the kids they're so much wiser than us, which they're not, but
right, the kids who eat paste will show us the way.
Exactly. Started this campaign against straws, not knowing anything because he's 9 years old, and because majority of people in government don't do any sort of research on anything to like, hey, maybe is he onto something, or is it just horseshit? Which it's like he's right. We gotta end this because
9 times out of 10
nothing else is really going on. So yeah, it's like there's nothing else going on. So let's ban straws because it makes
it's not like we have a crisis on the border or nothing.
Yeah, so that's straws. So we're gonna ban straws, which if and I'll back up a little bit. I'm not advocating that we just dump our trash in the oceans and all and all that stuff. It's like throw your shit away. Don't just throw stuff out in the street. Don't be an asshole.
Mm.
But at the same time, it's you get people there's that problem, and instead of maybe cracking down on people just throwing their garbage wherever, it's like don't throw like garbage everywhere. Recycle when you can. But yeah, this is something that is just so instead of something that's pretty easily recyclable or in some cases reusable, they it's like no, we just had to ban that, and then we're gonna make something that's harder to recycle that uses more plastic that we're bitching about, and that's gonna solve the problem.
Hold on, I got it. Okay, quick story. Okay, before any of this straw nonsense was becoming a thing, I remember I ran into this girl that I know at Starbucks, and we were just we ordered our things, and then we kind of talked a little bit, and then my drink came up, and then her drink came up, so I grabbed my drink, and then I reached for a straw, and then she kind of looks at me kind of judgingly, and she kind of says like, oh, you're using a straw? I was like, yeah, how else am I gonna drink this? It's like, straws, or contribute to like waste and blah blah blah, bullshit Greenpeace stuff. And then then I pointed out to her, it's like, well, whether it's like, who cares about straws? You come in here all the time, and you constantly get cups. Do you not think that cups, these plastic cups, don't also contribute to like waste and pollution and stuff like that? And then it's like, I basically called her out on her bullshit.
Threw it back at her.
Yeah, I threw it back at her. I was like, well, what are you doing? You're in here getting coffee or whatever in the same plastic cup. You're just not getting a straw. You think you not getting that straw makes you better than me?
It's like one of those things where it's like, yeah, how about this? Why don't we just use nothing? And we'll just
like, yeah, why not just try to, why not they just pour the coffee into my hands? It's,
yeah. It's like, how about use nothing? We'll all die because everything that we do is waste. And, and then we'll go back to, you'll be dead and the world will be a better place.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I had nothing against this girl. We're friends, but I just kind of had to call her out on her, bullshit.
Plus the other thing, it's like, look at me, I have no hands. Like, how else am I supposed to drink this shit? How are paraplegics supposed to drink anything?
I know, right? Exactly. It's like, bitch, I need modern convenience. All right, I'm crippled.
No, it's that crippled person needs to go to jail for Because he's using a fucking straw.
I know, right? Like, get the cripple, he's using a straw. I was like, what? Cause like then, what about like handicap, like a paraplegic who can't hold a cup and they have to use a straw to take in liquids.
Now, to be honest, yes, it is a small minority of people who are paraplegics, but we're using the logic of the left here.
Exactly. Yes. We're
same logic.
Don't think that we're stupid, or we're just applying the same logic that people on the left do.
Where they use like the smallest of minorities, transgender people, that to create this policy that is just horrendous. It's like we're
yeah, because then you're constantly being cowed by the minority.
What was that like? What was I think it was the Twilight Zone episode where the kid that like had that he has those powers to like destroy people with his mind, and so everyone and he could like read everyone's thoughts, and so they had to fake being happy around him.
Yeah.
And so it's like he kind of created this one person who would throw a tantrum, like controlled society.
Right. Yeah, and like because it's such the perfect metaphor, because then the kid the whatever the kid doesn't like, he's like, you're a mean man, and
you're a mean mad white man.
Yeah. Exactly. Rod Serling, he was a freaking prophet.
He is. I mean, The Twilight Zone is one of the greatest shows of all time.
Yeah. Although I hear good things about Black Mirror. I still haven't checked it out, but
I haven't seen it. I have heard it's kind of like a modern-ish type of Twilight Zone, a little bit more crass, a little bit more edgy, but kind of in the same
spirit,
same direction. Yeah. The world's a crazy place, Andy. It's a wonder why I don't go insane.
I know. Well, yeah. Me neither. There's times where I just, kind of take a step back. I'm like, this is the world that I'm living in. But then I take solace in the fact that I'm not insane, and then I take pleasure in trolling and just roasting people all the live long day.
Yeah, something we were talking about earlier today with our group chat. We have a group of friends that we converse with, and I was pointing out that it's where people look down upon you when you let your dog just poop everywhere. It's like, oh, you better clean up that dog poop, but God forbid that, like, you have someone, a person shitting on the sidewalk. Oh, that's okay. Just let him just, be who he is. It's like,
he's just expressing himself. He's just being himself. Okay, we can't put all these labels on people. They just need to be. And just a quick thing. I remember being in downtown like a couple of months ago. I was headed to some restaurant, and as I was walking, there was this guy. He didn't particularly look homeless, but he was peeing in a corner, just out, out in the world for everyone to see. He went into this corner. He wasn't necessarily hiding himself, but he had his back towards the street when I was walking on the sidewalk, and his back was towards me, and then he was peeing. I could hear it pee, and he was just no shame.
Yeah.
And the funny thing was, just a few more steps down, there was one of those public toilets. I mean, you have to, it's you have to pay money, but it was still a public toilet ready, available to him.
God help us all. So.
God help us all.
But it's like next time I'm just gonna let my dog shit wherever, and it's like, and if people give me the stink eye, it's like, oh, that was me.
Yeah, or like it's like you let homeless people shit on the street all the time.
It's like, but you don't clean that up, so why should I clean this up?
Exactly.
Now I'm not going to actually do that because I'm not an asshole. Kind of the same thing with the trash thing, but it's kind of it's the same logic. It's this is what happens, and I don't know how. Maybe I'm not smart enough to understand that level of just sheer stupidity. Where people are just are sharing all this backwards like ideas and ideologies, and it's like, no, that's not how life works. And it's just we have this fuck it all attitude about life, and no one cares about their neighbor anymore. No one thinks it's very nihilistic, and just it's all about the self now.
Well, just quickly,
we're there are a bunch of it's Cain. It's like, am I really my brother's keeper? That's pretty much like essentially how everyone acts.
Yeah,
it's like
sometimes you have to be. I'm not even I'm not even advocating all the time, but sometimes, and it doesn't have to be that big. It's just like, hey, go piss in that public toilet over there, you shit. It's just like as simple as calling out somebody. And that's all. That's all I'm saying.
I have a suspicion that what's going to happen if left to its own devices of what's going on with just the amount of human waste, much less all the needles and whatever paraphernalia that's just left to be all over the streets, is that we're gonna go back to something crazy like the bubonic plague or some other like disease is gonna come from it, and we're either gonna have some sort of thing that wipes out a bunch of people because of that. And I don't know. I think something really bad is gonna take place with that. I that's my prediction.
Maybe this might be the start of the zombie virus.
Oh, it could be. Maybe, yeah. Now we can just all live like The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm. Oh, but just to double back a little bit about using leftist logic. Just kind of a follow up from last week. I don't know if you knew, but the Guardians, the Galaxy cast, and I think some of the producers put out an open letter, begging for James Gunn to be reinstated.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, and you can go and find it, but basically it read, James was a different person back then, but he's not the same person he is today. So we should forgive him. That's kind of like the kind of spirit of that, what that letter said. And so I was thinking about it, and I thought to myself, well, then if that's the case, then you're totally gonna forgive Trump for his pussy comments, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because that was back in, that was way, that was like 10 years ago. He's a completely different person now. So you're totally gonna forgive Trump, right?
Yeah, that's never gonna happen.
But again, we're just like using the leftist logic. It's like if a person puts out something, something offensive or abhorrent, in the past, but then, and they don't get called on it until many years later, then they could apologize for it, and everything is cool. Because, it's like, oh, the person has grown since then, and they're a different person. So we have to forgive them. So, I mean, by your logic, then we have to forgive, Donald Trump.
Yeah, it's that's never gonna happen.
Of course not. Of course not. But it doesn't mean I can't point it out.
You're 100% right on that one.
I know. It's kind of a burden to be always right, but it's. But this is the thing that I live for. When how you were saying that you can't believe how this is our world right now, but these are the little joys that I get. That I could throw back the leftist hypocrisy back at them.
Yeah.
And I watch them squirm, and then eventually their heads explode.
Oh, nice. Well, like kind of the. Yeah. Yes. I can just imagine some like girls like, I can't even, Andy. To you sometimes.
Wait, what was that?
It's like, yeah, how like some girls or effeminate guys are like, I can't even.
Yeah.
They're too busy adulting while like we're actually, we actually are adults that think.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's I know it can get in the way sometimes, but using your brain.
Oh my God, look at me like pay this bill. I'm such an adult right now.
Yeah, it's just it's kind of like the lowered expectations of this generation, where things that people have been doing since forever are now, it's like, oh, look at this great achievement that I did. It's like, I paid my water bill. It's like, yay for me! Throw the confetti. Or look at me! I made my I made dinner for myself. Confetti.
I don't remember if it was. It's been a while since I've listened to either one of these guys' comedy specials, but like, I don't remember if it was Chris Rock or Kevin Hart that talked about like people celebrating them, like I take care of my kids, and like it's like, bitch, you're supposed to. You're calling that an achievement? It's like, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah,
otherwise you go to jail. And that's kind of like, I see like some of these posts of, trust me, there's things about life that suck. Like paying taxes sucks. Paying bills sucks. Paying rent sucks. Trust me, it sucks. I'm not like celebrating like, woohoo, I get to pay stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but.
True.
When people like are on Twitter or wherever and they're like celebrating, it's like, oh my God, I feel like such an adult right now. Look at me pay this bill. Like, what? You're supposed to pay your bills. Who the fuck? You're not. You can't like have everyone pay stuff for you all the time.
Yeah, those posts like, oh, adult. Like, I am so like, it's like I'm so winning at adulting right now. It's like, bitch, you should have been the master of it like 5 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, I remember like, when I had, a lot more money when I was, I had a lot more money when I was in the Navy, but, I still stand by my choice. I'm glad I'm not in the Navy anymore. Still a great organization though.
Navy.
But I remember like, a lot of times, cause I was doing stuff for, youth kids at church or, just people in general where, I knew they didn't have like a lot of money. So it's like, we go out to dinner. It's like, I kind of just secretly, I'd pay the bill, it's like, hey, and they're like, what? Like, it's like, it's like, yeah, don't worry about it. Like, I didn't say anything. It's like, oh, it's I just told him like the waiter's like, oh, just say it's taken care of. It's just more of like a nice thing to do, or, sometimes it's a luxury that I had, but, I didn't like, well, there wasn't really like a Twitter or anything that even if I was kind of that type of person, like I wouldn't post about it. And it's just kind of
right. Yeah, it's like doing an end zone dance.
Yeah. Oh man, I made dinner. Like I feel like such an adult. It's like, yeah, well, you know what? Like you can't have your mom like. Don't get me wrong. I still like, I still occasionally enjoy, my mother's cooking once in a while. But yeah, you can't like have people like just, make your food for you or cut this, damn crust off your bread. And I'm not gonna go on that type of rant, but it's just live your life. You don't have to put, celebrate everything. Like there's certain milestones that's okay, it's fun to like celebrate that stuff, like working hard, achieving something that's actually like worthy of celebration. It's super lefty. Patton Oswalt did have a really great bit on birthday celebrations, where it's like birthdays, like when you're a kid, like you get a birthday, obviously, like 1 through 10, it's like obviously a little kid gets a birthday. 11, no birthdays. 12, 11, 12, no birthdays. It's like, but I'm 11. It's like, yeah, whatever. Go to school. It's like, who cares? 13, big milestone. Celebrate a birthday. And it's like 14, 15. It's like no birthday. Screw it. It's like, but I'm 15. Like, who cares? Go to school. 16, big milestone. You get your driver's license, so on and so forth. 17, no birthday. 18, awesome. You get a birthday. 19, 20, who cares? 20, 21, awesome birthday. And then no birthdays until until you hit 30, 40, 50. Every 10 years.
Yeah, every 10. Yeah. Then you get the every 10 years birthday.
And is that's about right, one of the only things I agree about from Patton Oswalt. But it's kind of the same thing where I mean, I have I might have like a couple friends over like on my birthday. Like we did something kind of small for our collective birthday, but it wasn't like a big deal.
The
30th birthday, man, that was a fun birthday. But that was. It's probably like one of the last birthdays I'm probably going to have.
Yeah, I mean, it was a while ago, but I can't even remember what I did for my 30th.
I don't really remember much of my 30th birthday.
I mean, not because I was like super hammered, which I probably was, but even still, I can't really remember what I did for my 30th.
But it's like, I just tell people, it's like, stop celebrating everything. It's not that big of a deal. Like, maybe do like a personal, like, oh yeah, that's cool, awesome, I did it. That's I got a job promotion. That's something worthy of celebration. Or I got this new job that I was looking for. Or, you're getting married, or like those are things to celebrate. Those are good milestones. But this. Yeah, like, woo, I paid a bill. That's nothing to celebrate. That's just life. You just do that. And we don't have to give a shit.
Right, yeah. Not everything is deserving of an end zone dance.
Well, but that's the participation trophy generation for you.
Yeah. So true. So true.
Anyways, so I think what was it for? I'm really looking forward to. We won't say, but I'm really looking forward to our new month segment for our movie of the week segments that we're going to be doing. I'm really excited to watch the next movies on the list.
Yes, they're classics. They're classics.
Yeah,
for sure.
And definitely good. I think we picked some good ones, and I think not from this particular director. it's some of his different films. You know, it's not the normal ones that everyone would think of.
Yeah, it's definitely the one the earlier works and like kind of like the more low key ones that you kind of forget that he's attached to.
Yeah, we're going B-sides.
Yeah, the B side. Yeah, we're definitely going the B side of the record here.
Yeah. So I'm excited for that.
So yeah, look forward to that.
Anything big planned this week, Andy?
Funny you should ask, because I'm actually gonna go do some speed dating.
Speed dating?
Yes.
What brought this on?
It's more. What?
Are you lonely?
Only when I'm without you, Robert.
Oh, okay, well that's good. At least I bring some sort of joy to your life.
No, what is it? I'm just going kind of as a homie. One of my friends, we're trying to get him to like break out of his shell and be a little bit more spontaneous and a little bit more daring, as it were. Because
this will help with that.
What was that?
I think this will help out with that.
Yeah, no, because like me, he's getting up in years, and he doesn't get much. He doesn't get many opportunities to interact with the opposite sex. So me, James, and Dancing Jason found him this speed dating event, and since James and Dancing Jason have done this a few times before, and I haven't, I volunteered to be the wingman, sort of.
Awesome.
Yeah. So yeah,
well,
that'll be Friday.
We're definitely going to be talking about that next week.
Damn it! Shouldn't have said shit.
Well, I think everyone, including myself, and probably mostly myself, I want to know how that worked out. I want to know. I want to hear the crazy stories. I want to hear of just the good God stories of just the opposite sex that you meet.
I don't know. I'm as curious as I am as how I would fare in that type of situation. I'm really more interested in my friend, because he's kind of awkward, and he lacks a few social graces. So I hope I'll be able to concentrate on the women that sit across from me. Because I'll just be I could be kind of I'll be looking at them, but then I'll be kind of craning my neck a little bit so I can hear my friend. He's like, well, I'm really into yoga. It's like, whoa, hold on. Okay, anyways, you were saying? I'm half expecting to be doing that the whole night.
Oh, it's gonna be fun to talk about next week. I'm really looking forward to that.
Oh, I shouldn't have said shit.
Oh, well, that's you're too honest, Andy. That's
I know, I'm too damn honest. That's my problem. I'm just too damn honest.
What am I doing this coming up week? Not too much. I got bowling on Thursday. League night. We're trying to move back up the standings. We're right on the cusp of the playoffs again, as we always kind of are. Got that going on. And then Yeah, my parents are going out of town for they're going to a car show that goes on in Reno, Nevada every August called Hot August Nights,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they're gonna my dad he on the side from his normal job his hobby is selling car care products. So the distributor that he deals with, they asked him to, I think, help out with all that and work at the booth up there. So they'll be enjoying that. And while they're gone, I'm gonna look after their house. Keep an eye on the dog, make sure he gets his medicine and whatnot. And I got my I bought like food and stuff for that I have set up at their house for that week, so that'll be good. So I don't have to really go anywhere or buy any food. I can kind of just chill out, and their house is much cooler than my apartment, so that's another positive.
Yep. All right, we got.
So I'll be broadcasting from there next Tuesday.
Okay. Cool.
So and I'll try to come up with something more as fun as speed dating to talk about throughout the week.
Jeez. Jeez. All right. Well, we've been doing this close to an hour and a half, but I think this is a good place for us to wrap things up for tonight. Any last things you want to leave the audience before we sign off?
Well, like I said, we talked about the Indiana Jones trilogy. It really is, one of the great film trilogies of our time. It's I think Harrison Ford is one of the best actors ever. If you haven't watched any of them yet, man,
do yourself a favor.
It's totally worth it. And just have a great week. Don't get too worked up about stuff. There was a something that came to mind, and no matter what you believe about anything, we're Christians here. We've made no we've never really hidden that fact. There was a passage that really came to mind to me this past couple weeks, and it's something pretty simple. It's from a book in the Bible called First Thessalonians, and it's a
good book.
It comes from chapter 5, verses 16 through 18. Yeah, and it's be joyful, pray continually, and give thanks in all circumstances. And that's really something that I've kept in mind, where it's been blistering hot all the last month here in Los Angeles, and then I'm working a lot, and it's very easy to just complain about life and to be miserable all the time. And sure, we have our rants and stuff that we talk about on the show, but in reality, I have a lot of joy. And this is just such a great reminder to to say things could really be a lot worse. We have things really great, and I think we should just be joyful. That's my that's something I want to share with all y'all this week and to think about throughout the week.
Yeah. You have to practice joy. It's sometimes it doesn't come easily. Because you could have everything in the world. You could have the money, the home, the status, but you could have all those things and still not have joy. And also practice gratitude. Because that too, you need that. Because that again, gratitude doesn't come naturally. If someone does something nice for you, sometimes the first response isn't always thank you. You know,
Exactly.
and you know, we as human beings, we tend to take things for granted. So when people do good, you know, nice things for you, you know, our hearts could be hardened to the point where we no longer feel gratitude. So even in the smallest act of, you know, saying thank you know, for someone for holding a door open, or you know, or buying you a coffee, you know, ahead of you in line, or you know, or a longtime friend who, you know, who says that he'll go on a speed dating event with them, you know. So yes, don't practice you know, practice joy, practice gratitude daily, and that's what we'll leave you with. And
Yeah.
we will also we will practice gratitude right now and say thank you for joining us. Don't forget to join us every single Tuesday here at the Nocturnal Transmissions at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Don't forget to check out the library of other videos from previous Nocturnal Transmissions episodes, as well as Robert's show, Up by Up Down, and the main podcast, which I'm happy to announce that we will be getting back into very soon with some new improvements. So don't forget. So be on the lookout for that. Don't forget to follow us on our various social medias: Twitter at podcastcoj, and on Instagram at Circle of Jerks Podcast. And with that, for Robert and myself, we say thank you, and we'll see you next week.